Hey YouTube, sorry if I seem a little bit off in this video. I just got done with my cybernetic surgery, actually. They sealed my asshole shut. So Buttplug Randy won't be a threat to my anal safety anymore. The future really is here. Cyberpunk 2077.
The shit you say gon' make me put my dogs on you. Mortuary gon' have to cross your arms for you. I'm calm like never, I go off on you. Emotion gon' make me a pussy, make me God's
Is one of the most controversial games in recent memory. Delayed for months, and then finally released as an unfinished and buggy mess.
Was this game worth it? Does that answer your question?
But it's actually good now, and it was all along? I find it fascinating, so I'm making a YouTube video about it. Yeah, I'm a fucking nerd, but check this shit out. Speaks for itself, honestly. Despite the bugs, the writing in Cyberpunk was pretty much always outstanding. I think the character Johnny Silverhand and his questline are some of the most compelling parts of the game's story. I mean, first of all, let me get it off my chest, it's the coolest fucking shit ever. A dark, rebel rocker boy with a silver arm drops a nuke on an evil mega corporation, and in return they fry his brain and digitize him onto a computer chip. And there he's stuck for 50 years, trapped in a virtual hell until he gets plugged into the main character, V's head, and the chip starts overriding V's brain with Johnny's personality, an inevitable process that you spend the whole game trying to stop. It's an enthralling ass scenario. I mean, defecate on a piece of toast, because that shit is my jam. There's a near infinite amount of philosophizing you can do talking about Johnny Silverhand, some of which the game delves into. If there is a god and a soul, then what is Johnny as he exists in the year 2077? Is he just a false imitation of the real Johnny's soul, which is actually rotting in hell for all the people he, nuked? Or is it something that can genuinely be digitized? Was Johnny Silverhand's soul annihilated by Arasaka in their soul killer program like the name implies? Or did his essence, whatever truly makes Johnny Johnny, endure all these years on the chip?
Mind if I ask you something right off the bangle? Would you rather live in pieces, Mr. Nobody, die ripe, old, and smelling slightly of urine, or go down for all times in a blaze of glory, smelling near like posies, without seeing your 30th?
It was a phrase all throughout Cyberpunk's marketing campaign. Would you rather live in peace as Mr. Nobody, or go down for all times in a blaze of glory? Personally, I'd rather build a giant network of tunnels under the city like I just bought a new yarmulke and plan something devious, but that's just me. It's clear which path Johnny took, and where did his blaze of glory get him? It's been 50 years since he died, and what did he leave behind? Arasaka is still the most powerful corporation in the world despite the nuke. Adam Smasher, his arch nemesis, is alive and well, and Johnny's body was unceremoniously dumped at a landfill on the outskirts of the city, left to sit for half a century without any commemoration.
Here lies Johnny Silverhand.
One time in real life, I had a dream where Johnny Silverhand and I did cocaine together and then diddled on some guitars. Pretty cool dream. As whatever version of Silverhand festers and spreads in V's brain, it starts to present a Ship of Theseus situation, kind of if the replacement planks used were neon yellow and called you a cocksucker. The chip's influence in V grows, erasing your neurons one by one, but something curious starts to happen. Johnny Silverhand is a dickweed in full bloom at the start of the game, trying to kill V the first time the two ever meet. He treats you coldly, acting like the parasite he is, but at a certain point amidst all the bickering, Johnny starts to soften up a little. His cool, uncaring facade starts to waver, revealing moments of surprising tenderness.
I got you. Here lies Johnny Silverhand.
The guy who saved my life.
V, you don't know how much I want that to be true.
I mean, he's kind of a heinous fucking guy, but
An impressive cock.
in a way, V actually starts overriding Johnny, corrupting him into being a little bit better of a person when he sees life through your eyes and realizes exactly what grave he's built for himself. He lives the relationships built by a person who exhibits empathy, and Johnny Silverhand, the next step in humanity's technological evolution, starts evolving all on its own. Johnny had his soul killed. I mean, that's what Arasaka calls the program they used to take him out, Soul Killer. And yet, despite the corporation, Johnny somehow still has a soul, despite how it should be. Hang on, guys. It's from Buttplug Randy? He sent a picture of a power drill?
Oh my god!
He's gonna dismantle my anal defenses!
Oh
Cyberpunk 2077's very existence is at odds with the themes of its world. It's deeply ironic how some of the game's main themes are anti-capitalist and anti-corporation, but it's those very things that led to the game's botched launch and shitty worker treatment. All the crunch hours employees worked, all the pressure from CD Projekt Red higher-ups to release a game that wouldn't truly be ready for years. More and more money always the #1 priority. At the end of the day, it's an inherent truth to the way our world works, not helped at all by whoever at the studio decided that Cyberpunk had to simultaneously be GTA 6, Deus Ex, and The Witcher 4. A perfect gaming concept, it truly would be a next-generation title, but that was an ambitious pipe dream, crushed by the all-too-real deciding hammer of the corporation, eager for the game to hit the shelves and the profits to roll in, ignoring any artistic ambitions. In a perfect world, Cyberpunk might have been able to be that perfect game. The studio clearly has the talent and the passion. I mean, look at what it's become now. They've done more than just patch bugs. Whole systems have been reworked. I mean, Cyberpunk fucks. And not just with all the 4K uncut cocks. It isn't perfect, of course, but the world building and writing are so rich, the vibes and aesthetics immaculate, and it has the indescribable quality of having a soul that many other AAA games lack. It inspires on me in the same way that Elden Ring did. I can't fathom how many unique and cool and awesome looking things are packed into this game. All the different intricately crafted locations. It's also got one of the best trailers I've ever seen, which might seem like kind of an odd thing to say until you actually watch it. Nothing will get you hyped to play Cyberpunk more than these 2 minutes. In the game's fucking music, they hired real-life artists to work under in-universe names and made songs that fucking bang and pair so laughably well with the game's aesthetics while driving through the neon reflection-soaked streets. CD Projekt Red does not fuck around when it comes to atmosphere in their video games. Night City might be the best realized city in a video game that I've ever played, and it's not even a real place. There are so many sights and so much verticality and detail that make it a game that I have never once used fast traveling. Why should I when I get to drive through this masterpiece of a video game map? It's a game that feels like it fought so hard to be good. Every lifelike animation and lovingly modeled environment were built with blood, sweat, and tears. The developers clawing tooth and nail to patch together a game that's a cyborg of so many hopes and ideas, all implanted into this body that can miraculously withstand it and still somehow feel human. That somehow has a soul, despite the company higher-ups, despite how it should be. But is it all too little too late? There's a mission you can go on in Cyberpunk once Johnny Silverhand finally starts to mature. Back in his prime, when he had a physical body, he had a complex but mostly sexual relationship with a woman named Rogue, who in 2077 is one of the Night City underworld's most prominent figures. After visiting his grave and after being hit with the full weight of the piece of shit that Johnny really was, he asked V to do him a favor. A few hours in control of the body to go on a movie date with Rogue. One chance to take her to the place that she wanted him to take her 50 years ago. To return from the dead and give this woman something that, for the first time, wouldn't be just for Johnny's benefit. But it doesn't work. Rogue agrees to go on the date, but the whole time it just feels like she's there out of curiosity. I mean, it's been half a century for Christ's sake. It's only thanks to this future's technology that the 80-plus-year-old Rogue isn't wearing 2 layers of XXL adult diapers and watching Golden Girls in a nursing home right now. Why should she really give a shit about some dude she had a fleeting romance with 5 decades ago, back from the dead for a few hours in a foreign body, in her eyes trying like he did so many times in the past to sleep with her? In a twist subversive of the game's world, but not its characters, you can't fuck Rogue. You can try, as Johnny, but she stops you and leaves, either before or after you make a move, depending on if you did the Kaisen at Duke Dennis side quest that unlocks the Gyat 3000 in the W Riz perk. Rogue stands up at the drive-in movie theater, a decaying place still clinging to the past, and leaves Johnny there. It's time to talk about the best Cyberpunk ending. There are 4 of them, but I only plan to touch on the ending that I got in my most recent playthrough, because in my opinion it's the most satisfying one and focuses on the game's real main character, the man with the silver arm. V gives Johnny control of the body once more, and along with Rogue, like they did 50 years before, Arasaka Tower is invaded, the one place where Johnny can be safely extracted from V's head. It's an ending to the game's story that fits Johnny's character arc like a noodle in a strainer. Having him choose to take the body from V, like he does in another ending, undoes all of his development that I've talked about in this video, learning to act for another person's benefit instead of his own. The new Johnny is presented with the perfect test. Will he give up his life for his friends, setting the Johnny Silverhand of 2077 apart from his past self? And it's when Johnny makes this choice that his dreams are finally fulfilled. Arasaka crumbles as a result of your actions in the final mission. Adam Smasher gets smashed harder than a Buttplug Randy victim, and Rogue warms to the idea that maybe Johnny has changed, and is promptly murdered by Adam Smasher. Yikes, sorry, man. But as Johnny floats off into cyberspace, V regains full control of the body, a place that now feels lonely without Johnny's valuable insight.
Cock.
A body that once impossibly housed two souls is bound to seem lifeless when one disappears, but it feels less like the loss of a loved one and more like Johnny has served his purpose, completed the task he was meant to complete, and now he's allowed to move on, to join a collective of AIs swimming in cyberspace. Like a little sperms. That wasn't funny. Stupid, that wasn't funny. What am I doing here, bro? Is it going too far to say that the story of Cyberpunk as a game is the story of Johnny Silverhand mirrored in the real world? A video game with sky-high ambitions that came crashing down because of the higher-ups of a corporation that cared all too little about how brightly its games shine as long as they sell. And a man with sky-high ambitions of sticking it to the ones who ruin the world he inhabits, crushed by their overwhelming power. The upgrades that Cyberpunk has gone through since its disastrous launch, while not unappreciated by fans, this game rocks, don't undo the lies and letdowns, just as Johnny's attempts to patch things up from his past life were ultimately fruitless. Some things are just too broken. But what about the soul? Despite the lies and letdowns, the buggy launch and its backlash, the death threats, despite it, of course, being viewed by company higher-ups as a product rather than a project, Cyberpunk now stands out amongst open-world AAA games as a work that constantly oozes passion and vision. And Johnny Silverhand stands taller than he once did, proving that Arasaka's Soul Killer program was given the wrong name. Cyberpunk 2077 asks the question, can a corporation's disdain for humanity ever truly snuff out its flame? And through its characters and through its real-world perseverance, Cyberpunk argues, astoundingly no.